Well, hello and welcome people of the internet to Death Kid, a new arena brawler roguelite with some really sweet action combat and some tasteful meta progression. It's a pretty short demo. We'll probably get about 30 to 45 minutes of gameplay out of it. Basically, we're going to be going through levels of a well, trying to pit the whole wheel of life and death and put it back into motion and protecting these souls in the platform that you see that Death Kid is standing on right now. It's pretty sweet. We should have some fun. The demo is available, so if you'd like to check it out, link will be down below in the description. But for now, sit back, relax, grab a beverage, grab a snack, and let's get right into it. As far as I know, save progress will be carried over to either early access or the full release, whichever comes out first. I'm assuming early access. And combat is pretty sweet. So Death Kid is a melee style character. So we're going to have some punches, some kicks. We're going to have a little bit of projectile based combat. And we also have a really sweet transformation that I think is actually pretty fun to play as, and is one of those things that I didn't really expect how it was going to work. It was not exactly a weapon that I was fully expecting, but it's pretty fun. I think that this one has a pretty sweet gameplay loop. It's very straightforward. And I'm interested to see where the gameplay kind of goes upon further development. Right now, it's pretty linear in how the game plays out. There's no like branching pathways or anything as far as it seems right now. There's 10 different levels until you reach the base. In the demo right now, there's only 3 that are playable, and the game's going to kind of interrupt us in the middle of some of these levels in order to kind of progress the story, the mechanics. So in this first zone that we're going to enter, we're not going to be like super powerful. It's actually going to be a little bit difficult, but then as we progress through the demo, it's going to reveal some of these other mechanics to us to make us a little bit more powerful, a little bit more strong, and you know, we can take on these enemies much easier. All right, so here we go. Death Kid coming in. Of course, forcing these crows out of here. The flask is shaking. The cog has to be near. We will break the seal for you. Release us. And there be the souls. All right, we got just a little story introduction here, and it's going to just kind of walk us through the mechanics. So we do have a dash, which we are, of course, immune while we're dashing. We got some iframes. Now, we do have a combo-based combat system. So there we have just a simple little punch, punch, punch action. Easy enough. Now, there are 2 different kind of combos we can do. They all kind of revolve around pausing. So if you see here, he does a little bit of a wait position. After doing the first 2 attacks, he does a little ground pound, which is a little bit more of an AoE attack. But it does about the same, it does the same amount of damage. Now there's also some dashing combos. So if we dash, do 2 attacks, and then do the attack, he does a little bit more of a kick action. You can see there that his one, when you actually have the combo stored up, you'll see he has that little pause animation. We can also grab things. Of course, there is the Y button, which we can then hold X to aim it around and then throw it wherever we want. There'll be some cool enemies that we can throw around to kind of use to our advantage. Alrighty, now we also have projectiles, so we can hold down left trigger. I am playing on a Xbox controller, so, you know, if you're playing PlayStation or, of course, mouse and keyboard, your controls are going to change. We hold B to charge up our key, as it were. Charge that back up. Pop the tree down. Let's get one more charge. There we go. Cross over that tree just like it's nothing. Ooh, what do we got going on here? The souls like these rocks for some reason. I need to hurry up and remove this rubble. Souls are gathering impatient, or growing impatient, excuse me. Actually, it's probably much easier just to go in the middle here. Use our area of effect combo. There we go. So what now? We will attempt to break the seal. Someone alive could pass through without any problems, but we need a bit more time. Sit on a rock and wait. So this is interesting. This is kind of the way that they're introducing like the mechanics of the game without actually going into the gameplay. So the stopwatch here is the timer for each level. So we need to survive basically 12 hours. As these souls, it says 3 minutes. That's 3 minutes of gameplay, but you know, you need the minute hand to go all the way around. In the center here, here's our gateway. So this is how we're going to be passing from floor to floor. The seal's been broken. It will not stand in your way. That was easy. Let's go. So these souls are all our towers, basically. And there's that green rectangle bar, or like teal rectangle bar. That is each of these souls' health bar. So our goal is going to be to protect these towers from incoming enemies. Now, these towers can die. You lose the run when you lose all three. And if, let's say, 2 die and 1 survives, the 2 that died will get a tiny bit of HP upon the next floor, so you can start to protect them again, although it's not that much. So ideally, you just want to stop enemies from coming into contact with them at all. Now, they don't actually, like, you know, punch the towers. They kind of just absorb souls. I'm not exactly sure. I honestly kind of blew through all the story points, so I'm not sure if it's going to kind of explain what they're doing, but enemies are kind of just like absorbing these souls. Another gate. I knew it wasn't going to be easy. We need to break another seal. You're so tenacious. Without the cog, we can't restart the wheel of life and death. What are those? What are those? Soul leaders. Protect us so we can break the seal. Alrighty here. So this is actually the one I'm going to take out first, because this is one of the enemies that we can grab and throw. It kind of glues down some enemies. Now, of course, that can also glue us, so got to be a little bit careful of that. Alright, let's kind of knock these guys away. Oh, we got one. He's sucking up here. Let's get him out of there. Probably should have thrown him, so that way we could have gotten a little bit of glue. There we go. Let's grab this guy now. Stick those guys. Give us a little bit of time. Okay, we'll fight a little bit closer to the towers here. Oh god, they're getting a little bit too close. A little bit too close for comfort. A little bit of AoE. Nice. Oh, I missed. God, see, now I'm kind of okay. We got to use our energy blades to cut the glue. Oh, hey. Actually, you're closer. You're closer. Yeah, so you can kind of push enemies away before there's kind of a little bit of a cooldown here before they actually start attacking. No, sir. Okay. Oh, this guy's trying to throw his glue at me. Nope. You guys are closer. There will be none of that. Now we can also use our ranged attack, should we need it. Oh, we got a little bit of elite here. And there is friendly fire, so if you can line up enemies in a way... Oh god, okay. Hang on. Like I said, we don't have all of our power yet, so we're a little weak. We don't do as much damage as we will here in the future. Ah, god, I got glued. Okay, we're about 3/4 of the way through. Oh god, get him out of here. Ah, frick, I'm down. There we go, give him 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, just punch him away. Just punch him away. Oh, there we go. Use them against each other. Ah, shoot. I'm stuck again. Oh, God, there's a million of them up here. There we go. Nice. Okay, so we made it to the end. We lost a little bit of health in this top one, little one on the right. This one not so bad. Let's make our way to the next floor. So I think this demo is actually structured really well in, you know, so when I played this last night. I went through the demo, and initially when I was playing this, I was like, wow, this is actually a little bit difficult. Now, of course, I was still kind of learning the mechanics of like how combat actually worked. Getting the combo timing down, that one took just a little bit to understand like how long I need to wait for the third attack. And by the time I finished this floor, I was like, it's a little bit tough. I'm not doing a whole lot of damage. And then as you'll see, it kind of pulls us out and is like, hey, you probably want to use these power-ups. It's like, oh yeah, this would have been super nice to know. So in this floor, instead of glue, we got kind of these black hole enemies that if we grab them, we can kind of pull enemies together, which will help us out with some of our abilities here in the future. And of course, we can pull in enemies like that. Oh, nope, 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 nope. There'll be none of that. Now we need to attack these guys from the back because obviously they have shields. Now the black hole enemies, got to be a little bit careful about those because they're not always beneficial. Depending on where you, like what enemies you hit, you can actually pull enemies closer to your base. Like that one was kind of worthless. That didn't really do anything. So you got to kind of be careful where you throw those things. Okay, gotta be careful about that one. Oh, that was bad. Gotta get this guy down or he's gonna be a problem. Ah, God. Now, you can't actually die. Like, your character, Death Kit... Oh, God. Frick. Okay, we're losing our towers here. This is not good. This is not good. Oh, God. These guys are a problem. Death Kid can't actually die. So, like I said, the way that you die is that your souls get drained. You can get knocked down a million times, though. That's for sure. Oh, God. Okay. Ah, down we go. It's over. Without the souls, I cannot go any further. You haven't lost yet. Who is this? All right, now here's our little buddy. He's gonna help us out here. I think that was actually as far as you go on this first instance. Even if you pass, even if you win, it's still like you jump through the portal and it still like takes you here. Those little souls you have bottled up have been devoured. So I brought you here. You'd be stuck there forever if it wasn't for me. Who are you? Me, a fellow inmate. Show your face. See, there's nothing to be afraid of. I would say you are the scary one. I mean, your head is just a skull. How come you aren't dead? Everyone's supposed to be dead now. The wheel of life has been broken. I'm plenty dead, all right. Look, we're stuck here together and you're gonna help me. How? Souls from my bottle are gone. We need life force to break the seal. It was very cunning of you to use those souls. They are neither fully gone nor truly alive. Still, enough to get the job done, I guess. They got stuck between life and death when the wheel broke. There's nothing like them left in this world. Indeed, but I have this, a bone from a multi-dimensional creature, the hordes. It went extinct eons ago. Its marrow can take you back in time if your souls are still around to help you. So you can try to get to the bottom as many times as you want. Why are you helping me? You can say our goals are aligned. I can't use the bone of hordes on myself. It won't travel through time. We would get separated. Send me back. I want to try again. Hold your horses. I need to show you something. Your undead state has many benefits, not only immortality. And those are? Good question. Come closer. Stand still. As he gives me power. The power flows through my veins. I have so much power. And now we get the sweet mechanic. And we get some extra power orbs. What was that? I feel strange. I unlocked your death form. If you let yourself be filled with rage, your power will be unmatched. How can I use it? You'll see. All right, let's open the door, buddy. Let's find out what death form is, because it's actually pretty sweet. Stand in the center. Alrighty. Punch those punching bags to fill up your rage. Every hit counts. All right, let's go to town. Let's beat them up. Do our thing. Give them the punch. Give them the kicks. Halfway there. Just treat them like they're your little bitch boy buddy bullies in school. And oh, there we go. Nice. Charge your energy while your rage is full to trigger your death form. There we go. So now we just hold B and it's transformation time. And we go Super Saiyan. And now we have a lightsaber. Test your strength on those dummies. Hitting them from the back inflicts critical damage. Are you listening? Hit from the back. Hit it from the back. Back of the dummy is a different color, so you know where to hit. Okay, let's go. Yeah, so now we have a lightsaber. And our attacks are way cooler. And of course, we still have any of those charge attacks. Boom. There we go. Easy enough. You can sustain your form longer if you continue to destroy your foes. One last thing, you cannot die, but you can still be stunned. I'll show you how to recover faster and replenish your energy quicker. When stunned, focus on the right moment and use your power. I'm going to slap you until you get it. Is this necessary? It is. And unfortunately, my timing is not very good when it comes to this, but especially in combat. So basically, yeah, you got a circle. A bigger circle is going to start on the outside and shrink its way down. And once those circles overlap, you hit X, and then you wake up, do a little bit of AoE damage as well. And you can actually, I think you can increase that damage through meta progression. The meta progression is kind of a, I wouldn't, unique isn't necessarily the right term, but it's different in how it works. Every account is going to be a little bit different, I think, because it's not exactly linear progression in a traditional sense. We'll see that. That'll be the next kind of tutorial that we go through here. Yeah, see this, I still haven't gotten down the timing of when the circle starts, and so that makes the timing a little bit weird. Oh, nope, nope, nope. There will be no sucking here. This is a no suck zone. Ah, God. I actually didn't even think it was going to get me from there. Okay, so now the other thing you see is a bunch of these glowing pots. Now, you don't actually, as far as I can tell, you don't actually have to collect these now. They're going to be collected as long as you finish the level. So I suppose what's actually going on is if you don't finish the level, maybe you don't get these... Oh, I don't have that ready yet. You don't get the progression that's inside. Basically, that's what's used for your meta progression. It'll give you levels. So in the bottom left corner, you can see that there is a meter down there. Ah, God, it was just a little bit off. Okay, we're going to power up here. This is actually going to deal damage to enemies around us, so I'm going to use that to kill those enemies. And so those levels are going to power up abilities that we can choose to take. But you can see now in terms of damage, like we're dealing bigger chunks of damage, so it's a little bit easier to actually progress through. Okay, let's power up. Oh, I don't have enough. Crap. God dang it, man. Okay, now we have enough. Come on, power up. Oh my God, come on, man. Okay, well, we completed the floor, but that was not good. I just kept getting stuck in a loop. Alrighty, here we go. Yeah, that's one of those bad times that you don't want the black hole to suck in your enemies. Sucks them in a little bit closer than you want. Okay, now I'm gonna save my death form for a little bit, I think, until things get a little bit hairier. Actually, now's a pretty nice time. I think. Maybe that was a little preemptive. Okay, there we go. Nice, nice, nice. Let's charge up some of our orbs here again. There we go. Death form. Let's go. Nice. Get a couple kills there. Okay, we're going to take out this big boy here. Nice. Oh, nope, nope. No, there will be no sucking. Almost done. Almost done. Come on. Nice. Okay, so we protected the two that were really low. Let's see if we can hold that out for one more. So we're going to get a few more mechanics here. But as far as I've been able to tell, the formula is kind of the same. So you have like your normal enemies. You have your enemies that have a little bit more of a mechanic. So in this case, it's going to be these force fields. There's two different types of force fields here, though. There's these little like floaty guys that you have to kill. And then there's also like a scorpion that shields enemies. And from what I can tell, when you kill the scorpion, it kills the thing in the shield as well. And then you have your kind of elite enemies. The difference here is that the ones that have the little like circles here though, those will not kill. So like if we kill, yeah, so like if we kill the scorpion, you can see here it kills whatever they're protecting, which is a little, it's interesting. I honestly, the first time I didn't expect that to happen. So, but I mean, totally fine. Like, yeah, it helps out a lot. You know, like you get a little 2-for-1. I'm actually going to collect these so that way we get our 2 points just in case we don't make it through this one. Okay, let's get our death mode on. Get a couple kills here. 4 kills, nice. Okay, we got a couple kills out of that. Now, I really like movement in this game. One of the things I was a little bit concerned about is that they were going to have movement. Okay, we're going to, yeah, try and use that to our advantage here. Movement, I was a little bit afraid was going to be not as, kind of like lenient, you know? There are some games that use movement as kind of like the limiting factor. It's like, oh, you didn't plan your movement properly, so now you're going to die because of it. They give you, I mean, you have basically unlimited dashes, I think. I haven't been told there's any kind of limitation, so I'm kind of just dashing as much as I want. But we're also just fast on top of that. And so you can really just, you know, move your way around the arena kind of willy-nilly. And you don't necessarily get punished, like, unless you're just not paying attention and not fighting enemies on the other side of the screen, you don't really get punished for all of a sudden, like, oh, there's a second wave on the other side of the screen that I just can't get to because, you know, I was playing on the wrong side. Oh, we're having some trouble down here. Okay. Now, one thing I will admit that if you're looking at the game right now and thinking, man, combat seems a little too straightforward, a little bit too repetitive, don't worry, we're about to open up combat a little bit more right after this. Sounded like a freaking TV show. Coming up right after this commercial break. But this is where we learn a little bit about the meta progression. Like I said, it's tasteful meta progression. It's not like, it's not overwhelming in the sense that it's just meta progression for meta progression's sake. It's actually going to enhance our overall combat. There is definitely some just like, you know, here's some damage, but there's others that's like, okay, let's actually give you some more tools in combat to be able to kind of dispatch enemies a little bit quicker. Now, the way that this works, so this book here is where we can spend skill points, and that's that 2 down in the bottom left-hand on the bottom left-hand side of the screen. Now, the thing that's a little bit different about it, so we have 2 options here, but if I actually open up, yep, give me just a second here, buddy. Here we go. So these are all the points that you can put in. So you have 5 points here into just damage and crit damage. We have ability damage, you know, this is death form damage, but then we have some other things down here. And these are all kind of like different ways to play the game. You can also see your combos down there in case you forget those, but they're pretty straightforward. They're essentially the same thing. There's basically 2 combos, right? These other ones are actual combat tools. So now if we go in here, ahead and look at here, we have charge, pull enemies towards you and release a small blast upon holding left bumper. Or we have during the dash or combo perform a spin kick for a short amount of time, but that's going to use energy. So now we have another thing that we can do to use energy. Now I am going to take this. I'm not the biggest fan of this ability, and I will show you why in a little bit, but I think it's kind of important just in case the devs are watching that I just kind of give my thoughts and opinions on this. So we're going to take this one, hold a charge. So now we have 1 point into this dash and kick. It's going to turn the page, and then we get to choose another one. So the way that you progress is going to be different. Now, based on my first run in the demo, I'm not sure if this is always going to be in the same order, because the order that these have been provided are the same as I did the last time. I'm assuming for the demo, they're scripted. I'm not sure if in the full or early release access version of the game, these are going to be randomly provided to you. So you're not always going to have the same progression through the game. But just keep that in mind that when you play through the demo, or if you do, you're going to be offered the same exact ones here at the start. I am going to take just the regular melee damage, since that's what we use most of the time. So I definitely want some damage there. And then it offers us 2 more, but we don't have any skill points, so we can't actually do this. And you can also hit Y to toggle the form and see what the different versions are going to look like, which is pretty cool. Go and test out your new abilities. Red Dummy can be destroyed only with the newly acquired skill. Come find me when you're done. I'll send you back for another try. So we get to do a little bit of preview here. And so with our dash attack that we just picked up, we do this little spinny kick, which does use our energy. And so we'll have to charge that back up. Now, the thing that I'm not so crazy just with this ability is you kind of lose a little bit of your control when it comes to movement. So, for example, it's going to be really hard to explain without actually seeing like my hand on the controller. But if we dash in one way and I try and like quickly, for example, if I use this as a pivot point and I try and like pull my way around the circle or even change directions really quickly, right? You kind of, that's as tight as you can go. And this is me like, so for example, I'm going to hit my left bumper right around here, and I'm going to change the direction of my left stick 180 degrees. So if, for example, I'm running up this way, I'm going to change it immediately to go this way, just so you can see what the movement looks like. Oh, hang on a second. And so that's kind of the tightness of this. Now, ultimately, is it a big deal? Like, that's how tight you can turn? No, not really, but I've noticed that it's not the easiest thing to control in the midst of like crazy combat. So we'll obviously take a look at it, see how it works in combat. I kind of wish that you could I just kind of wish you can control your character a little bit more and maybe slow yourself down mid-dash. Because what I found is this kind of attack to me kind of feels like you'd want to dash into an enemy and then trigger this to get like 2 or 3 hits in rapid succession really quick. But what ends up happening is you kind of just like run past them, right? So you can kind of do it for sure. But then I end up a little bit farther than I want to be. It's a very, very small observation. It's not even really that big of a deal. It was just something that I noticed last night that I was like, I'm kind of going a little bit farther than I want to with that. But it's definitely a super nice tool to have, and I actually like this a lot better than the oh, I didn't even realize I was near that. Okay. Oh, maybe I got shot by that guy. So I like using this a lot more than I like the projectile. The projectile to me, I never really used that much in my first run. It was just kind of there. I suppose you could definitely use it more, but for me, it just didn't really match my style that much. Okay, we're slowly getting better at that ability. Maybe it was just that I wasn't used to the kick. Maybe it's actually better than I thought it was. So hold that thought. Hold that thought. Oh, let's go ahead and go death form. Let's pop it on these guys. You know, I think it's one of those things where I think there is kind of a, there's a reason why, for example, like my brother, he's I'm going to go on a tiny little tangent here. My brother is very picky when it comes to eating, right? Like, he does not like cheese, for example, but he'll eat cheese on certain pizzas because it's okay. Like, very, very weird pickiness. But what my parents have always taught, you know, me and my brothers, is that even if you don't like something the first time, you should still give it a second try. Because it's likely that just because you try something once, you know, doesn't mean that you're always going to not like it. And so I kind of take that approach with everything. So just because, you know, I have an opinion the first time I play something does not necessarily mean that that opinion is kind of set in stone. You know, I'm always willing to go in for a second try, and that's kind of, you know, what I'm finding here is like, oh, this is actually performing a little bit better than I found the first time. And maybe it's just because, you know, I figured out kind of, or have put more pieces together about like how it actually works. But that being said, I think that it's still important. And if there's any, you know, people in creative or people in, you know, dev work or anything, you could obviously correct me, but, you know, I think that it's worthwhile to both know, or to both hear opinions from the very first perspective, and then also like the second, third, or fourth perspective of giving things a try, because they can kind of give you different insight of mechanics in game, right? It's kind of the same way with like cooking. Like, I really like to cook. I mean, let's be honest, I like to eat more. I think it's like with anything, it's like, cooking is fun, don't get me wrong. It's obviously a lot of work, but I like to eat the final product. But when you're trying something new for the first time, it's like maybe you're not fully expecting, you know, whatever the taste is going to be. And so your brain might immediately go like, oh, I don't know if I like that, you know, and then you give it a second bite and you're like, wait, maybe I do. And then you try it for a third time. You're like, oh, wait, no, now I've adjusted to it. This actually tastes really good. And it's just something that, like, you know, you just got to understand, like the first impression. Obviously, you want any first impression you want to be good, right? No one wants to make a bad first impression. And a lot of times your first impression is the only impression that you have to give. Because a lot of people, you'll kind of lose on that first progression. Wow, my brain, as many times as I just said the word impression, my brain literally just like unwrote the word for my brain. It was like, what word are you trying to say? Anyone else ever have that happen? That's super weird. It's kind of like when a word just stops becoming a word because you say it so many times. But yeah, anyway, like your impression of something can completely change from the first try to the second try. And so it's kind of important to understand, or to get feedback, I think, how players or tasters or whatever, viewers if you're in visual media, listeners if you're in musical media, you know, how those impressions can give you different feelings, different feedback. It's all very important. You know, as someone in commercial production, you know, I work very closely with, well, one person, my producer. And, you know, something that will happen very often is she'll kind of get blindsided, or maybe blindsided is not the right word, but she'll be kind of overwhelmed. Like, so for example, very recently, this past week, we were working on a project where it was a little bit more creative for her than she's done for over the past, like, several months. And she was very excited for it. It took me, I don't know, probably 15, I think it was like 15 hours after I calculated, to get the edit done. And she watched it the first time. She was like, yep, I love it. It's perfect. Let's export it. Let's get it ready to send off. And then she comes back like 20 minutes later. It's like a, you know, two hour export. And she comes back like half an hour later and she's like, okay, so I actually watched it back again and we have a few tweaks that we need to make. And it's like, oh, but I thought it was, you know, I thought it was good. And it's like, well, it's still good, but there's a couple like small details. Like, can we change this color to better represent, you know, the client's logo? Can we change this to not include, you know, the talent's face? Can we do this, that, and very, very small changes, right? And ultimately, would the client have made like a big fuss about these changes? No, probably not. You know, we're talking about the final like 5% changes. But her initial impression was so different because she was kind of overwhelmed seeing it for the first time that she made all these assumptions that it was like, you know, perfect. And then watched it again with kind of a little bit more like untainted eyes. And it was like, oh, wait, no. There's some stuff here that we need to just kind of tweak to make it even better. Some of the things, I will argue, made it better. Okay? I'm okay for criticism. Some of the things, you know, I didn't think necessarily made it better, because obviously if I thought it made it better, I would do it in the first place. But you know what? Sometimes it's best not to argue. But she's pretty good with change. You know, she'll ask me my opinions on stuff, and be like, "Do you think this actually works?" And I'll be like, either, no, I thought about it, I tried it. That honestly tends to be what I do. Is if something is like, maybe I haven't thought of everything, and she'll go like, what do you think about this change? And I'll just be like, yeah, tried it, didn't work. And I may not have necessarily tried it every time, but it tends to win the argument. Just like, yeah, I tried it, didn't work. All right, let's go ahead and charge up some of that energy again. Yeah, so there's been a couple attacks on this level where I've kind of lost the control of my character a little bit using that spinny kick. And kind of like flown past the enemies that I was trying to hit. Oh, I'm out of energy, that's why it keeps beeping at me. Okay, let's power up, get some damage going. Where are we at? We got another like 20 seconds. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so you can see as soon as you get your damage up, obviously the floors are a lot easier to go through. And I think that's actually the end of the demo. But combat's very fun. I like the concept of, you know, kind of the bullet heaven style movement of enemies coming towards you and of course kind of defending. It's kind of, you know what's actually funny that I actually didn't really think about until 2 seconds ago was we played another game that's very similar to this concept, which was Saving My Hero. Which was definitely more along the bullet heaven aspect of games than the action combat of, oh, what is this? Where are we? Of this style of combat. And one thing that I was saying about that game is that while there were definitely some systems in that game that I think need to be polished, cleaned up. I liked the idea of the game, and you can kind of see here the idea of the game like really works because this is kind of a more polished oh, what is going on here? A more polished version of those mechanics. What in the heck? What are we doing here? Oh, it's our friend. Oh, okay, we're good. We're good. Yeah, he wouldn't do anything to it. What? Ah! well, that was okay. We just got bit. Thank you for playing the Death Kid demo. If you enjoyed the game, please add it to your wish list and fill out the survey. Yeah, that was a little creepy. Oh, and now he's poking us with a stick. Interesting. What's up, buddy? What happened? You hit your head when I brought you back. Good thing you don't need to breathe. Yeah, lucky me. You can't go for another run. Why not? You know why. Now, I'm going to be honest. I don't actually know if you can do another run. Based on what I read on the Steam page, it says you can. Now, you can come in here and still buy other skills. When I tried to play another run before, like, because this just pops up dummies. There's nothing down here, right? So I'm assuming there's going to be a little bit more progression, perhaps, down here. I'm not exactly sure. There's nothing over here. This is just where we drop, right? There's nothing over here. So I don't actually know if you can do another run or not, unless you have to start the game over. But anyway, that's Death Kid, a game that I'm interested to see where the game goes from here. There's not, like I said, there's not like I guess there is a ton of ton is the wrong word. There's quite a bit of meta progression here, right? There's only 9 options, but each one has different option. If you're doing, 2 to 3 skill points per run, it's going to take you a little bit to get all of this unlocked. And then especially if there's going to be other rooms here to unlock, you'll have some stuff to do. It's definitely more arcadey, which is how the dev describes it on the Steam page, which I think is pretty spot on. I don't think this is necessarily a game like your Hades style roguelites where you're gonna have a bunch of different builds that you can try. This seems like very much like a one style build game where it's more just about getting to the end. However, this is just a demo, so it's kind of a small slice of what the game is actually be. That could definitely change once we get into early access. We just don't know yet. That being said, the game is quite fun. There's a reason that arcades lived as long as they did, because even though the gameplay is straightforward and simple, it is addicting. And that's what I'll say about this one, is the combat is quite addicting. It's a very fun loop. I would like to see maybe a little bit more variation of maybe not enemy types. That's probably the wrong way to describe this, because I think that the way that the enemy types work is actually very nice. You have your different enemies. One thing that I actually didn't show off and probably should have, the enemies that have the shield in the second area can actually reflect your projectiles. So if you shoot projectiles at them, they're going to knock off. And you can actually send them back into other enemies. So there's a little bit of like not crossplay, that's wrong. There's just a little bit of extra gameplay there. I think I might, again, it might be one of those things that I'm over analyzing. And to me, it was just like, I knew what the formula was going to be every time I went to a new floor, where there was going to be like one regular enemy, there was going to be one slightly stronger, and then one elite. And while they all played a little bit differently, it's still, to me, it's one of those things where I can't put my finger on like how I would want to see it adjusted, but it felt like every room was a little bit formulaic. So I don't know, maybe you could put like, like room hazards or just something to differentiate the levels a little bit. Overall, that's not like a huge thing. I'm not trying to imply that like, oh, the game sucks because it doesn't have this. Just kind of like my initial impression feel. To me, the floor, again, it just kind of made the floors feel a little bit samey because I knew what to expect. So I don't know, maybe just a little bit of variation there, I think, could help kind of flesh out the gameplay a bit more and make it a little bit more unpredictable going from floor to floor. But other than that, like the combat is very fun. I like our little dude here. The transformation is super fun. I love the fact that we have like these, energy attacks here with our punches and kicks. We got a little bit of a ki blast going on here. And then we just turn into basically a Sith Lord, right? That's kind of what it looks like too, where we transform, right? It's almost like we have like this, it's almost like we have an old Republic look to us, where we have like this, you know, the Sith armor, and we got this super cool, like, honestly, the way that the pixel art looks, it almost looks like a, oh, I forgot what it's called, but it's like the spirit sword that Yusuke uses in Yu Yu Hakusho, where it's kind of like coming at, although he had a piece of wood, right? It's a little bit more like Vegito, like where he has his energy coming out of his hand. It's pretty sweet. This game is sweet. If you want to try it, there is a demo on Steam. Deaf Kid, what'd you think? Let me know down below in the comment section. And of course, if you had a good time, would you kindly smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more roguelite action. I've been Ganyonz. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.